All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Becoming a Bobcat webinar, where we will get to explore a little bit more about the liberal studies major. My name is MJ Jimenez, and I am with the Office of Admission at UC Merced. Just a friendly reminder that tonight's session will be recorded in case anyone would like to re-watch this session. For anyone who has questions, feel free to use the Q&A function that we have in order to send us any questions that you have for either myself or someone of the Liberal Studies team, or any transfer questions that you guys might have. We also have student ambassadors who are here with us who are more than happy to answer any student questions that you guys might have. I will go ahead and hand it off to Catherine, who will go ahead and get us started with this webinar.
Hi everyone, welcome and congratulations on your admission to UC Merced. We're really excited to have you here today and to share a little bit more about the liberal studies major that's launching this fall. So we wanted to take a moment to introduce the advising team for the major. We have a team approach to this. You'll be really well supported in the major. So we'll just go through myself, Elizabeth Whitmer, and Melissa Amarias are here today. So we'll take a few minutes to introduce ourselves, and then we'll kind of go over the format for the webinar today. So my name's Catherine Kohler. I'm a teaching professor here at UC Merced. I'm also the faculty advisor and chair of the liberal studies major. I started here in 2012, so I've been here 14 years, and I've seen the campus grow from this tiny little quad into this new fancy, shiny, sprawling campus. And the student population just grow and thrive. So it's really exciting to be part of launching a new major here, to see that growth continue. I'm a first generation college student myself and also a UC alum, so go Aggies. I'm really excited to just be part of the growth of the UC system too. And I'll hand it over to Elizabeth to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Whitmire. I'm the Degree Completion Program Advisor, Liberal Studies Major Advisor, and next to me on the screen is Linda Safer on the slide. She's a transfer advisor, but I will also be assisting Linda with transfer students as well. So you'll probably be my point of contact. I will probably be your point of contact, sorry, for liberal studies, whether transfer student or not. I've been here for almost 3 years, almost exactly 3 years. And before that, I was a teacher in the Merced area for 12 years and graduated with a liberal studies degree from Stanislaus. So it's pretty cool to see liberal studies coming here and to see what can come and having seen what's come from our Cal Teach too, even prior to this major. So it's been really cool to see all the students. I previously worked with students coming into my classroom and then now work with those students here at the university. So it's pretty cool. I'll pass it on to Melissa.
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Amaryllis and I am the Student Services Advisor for CalTeach. So even though I am not in the Shaw area, I'm actually under the School of Natural Sciences. CalTeach partners really closely with this new liberal studies program to have created it, and we are, working together to make UC Merced a campus that students go to when they want to become teachers. So I'm really grateful to be included in all of this. And I have been at UC Merced just over 6 months. So I only started in September. And it feels like it's been ages because of all that we have been able to do and accomplish in that amount of time. And before that, I did work at San State. And so I worked in TRIO Student Support Services as their writing specialist and advisor. And then I have also been teaching part-time at Merced College for 7 years. And so I do teach public speaking there online. And I was really excited to, be a part of raising up the next generation of teachers.
Yeah. Thank you both. Yeah, we're really excited to have this team to welcome you here. So I'll just go over quickly like some of our goals for today. So we've kind of split the webinar into two halves. So in the first half, myself and Elizabeth will give kind of an overview of the degree program and academic advising in the school, and then we'll have a pause where we can answer some of the questions that have come in during that part of the webinar. And then in the second half of the webinar, we're going to talk about sort of added value on campus and how you can kind of make the most of your first year here as a Bobcat. So things to explore on campus, including the CalTeach program, which you'll learn more about. And then we'll sort of cap off that part of the webinar with Marta. Hi, Marta, who's here. She's a CalTeach student, and we'll give you a kind of student insight into CalTeach and just her experience here at UC Merced. And then we'll have another pause for final questions, and then we'll talk a little bit about ways to reach out to us after the webinar if you have questions that you'd like to discuss one-on-one. So it's just kind of a quick overview of the format for today. So I'll start a little bit by talking about career pathways in liberal studies. I'm going to guess that most of you are here because you have an interest in becoming an elementary educator. So liberal studies is the major of choice for future early childhood or elementary educators and can accelerate your progress toward a multi-subject teaching credential. So the degree satisfies the CSET for the multi-subject credential, and we'll talk in a little bit about ways you can take coursework as part of the major that will also credit toward your teaching credential. I also wanted to mention that UC Merced is the first UC to offer a PK3 teaching credential, which is brand new in the state and aligns with the launch of Universal Transitional Kindergarten. And so this is an additional credential that you can add to your multi-subject credential as a liberal studies major and just kind of expands your career opportunities, especially with that growing need in the state. Our major has really strong partnerships with both CalTeach, which you'll learn more about today, and UC Merced's teacher preparation program, which offers teacher credentialing on our campus. And so we're happy to answer questions about that as we go too. For those of you who might not be here as teachers, but as students who are just interested in a broad and interdisciplinary education, we know from data from the state of California that graduates from this kind of major commonly go into leadership and management positions in sectors that have some kind of social service function and kind of serve the public good. So healthcare, government, human services. And when we look at job titles for students that have a liberal studies degree, they're often in management positions at nonprofits, or they're working in government roles as project managers or operations managers. So for those of you who might not be here because you're interested in a teaching pathway, those are the kinds of outcomes that we see from this degree for students. So just to quickly give you a sense of the degree and how it's organized, this is a unique and new degree at the UC. So we are only one of two UC campuses that offers a liberal studies degree. So we're really excited to be on the forefront of expanding this option in the UC system. So fall 26, you'll be our inaugural class. So that's really exciting. But we also lean into a lot of strong programming on campus to prepare future teachers that we're going to highlight for you today. And it'll give you an interdisciplinary foundation for teaching that builds your subject matter competence to be able to teach across subjects in elementary aged classrooms. Just to highlight some features of our campus, we have really small class sizes here. So most of the classes that you will be in will be 30 students or fewer. So you get a really, unique education within the UC system for that reason. Your faculty will know your name. That is one thing that most students say. Maybe Marta can speak to that a little bit more later. But you will not be lost in a kind of sea of faces on campus, and that is something that makes our UC really unique. And as I mentioned earlier, the degree satisfies the CSAT, so we kind of set you off on your path for a credential. In terms of the curriculum, it's 54 units, so you'll take 24 lower division units. There'll be a cornerstone course with me, Intro to Liberal Studies, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a moment. And then there's social sciences breadth and humanities and arts breadth requirements within the lower division that you'll have some choices to make within. And then there's 30 upper division units. So there's a kind of broad elective requirement where you can map your courses, and a capstone that helps with career preparation and kind of synthesizing your learning and being able to communicate your degree for your career. So just to give you a sense of what that might look like, this is an example for a future teacher of the types of courses that you might plan within that breadth and elective scope. So we have Introduction to Teaching Elementary School with fieldwork experiences that are offered through our education minor, which we'll talk to you a little bit more about, that you can take as part of the major. And those are courses that satisfy the fieldwork hours that you'll need to apply to a credential program. You can take history courses in U.S. history that also satisfy the Constitution requirement for a teaching credential. And then other subject area courses like California history, children's literature, intro to language and linguistics. These are courses from across our School of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts that are really important for developing your subject competencies for the credential. And then with upper division electives, you might choose to take a couple of other education courses. Both of these courses will credit toward the major, the education minor that you'll learn more about in a moment, and also teacher preparation. So they'll satisfy credential requirements as well. So you can further accelerate your progress toward a teaching credential. And then other upper division, oops, I didn't mean to click forward. I'm sorry. I touched my mouse. I'll get back to the right slide. Thank you for your patience. Okay, I'm back. So other upper division elective courses that would meet other kind of competency areas for the multi-subject credential could include language acquisition, developmental psychology, courses where you learn about how children learn and grow and thrive, advanced composition that helps you master language and composition skills, theater and performance. We have courses in both our Spanish program and our arts program as a subject area competency. So this is just one example of a course plan where you might map out ways of navigating the degree, and you'll do that closely with your advising team. And so we'll talk a little bit more about how advising will support you in developing that plan. Now to this slide. So to give you a quick preview of what the introduction course will look like, which you'll take with me in the fall or the spring. I'll offer it both semesters. The course will be taught in what we call a teal classroom, and you can see a picture of it here. It's a technology-enabled active learning classroom. That's what teal stands for. But there's no front or back of the room, and it's really designed to facilitate students working together. So you'll have 75 students. This will probably be your largest course, but you'll have 75 students in this class. And the space allows us to really design the course to focus on collaborative and applied learning. So there's not going to be a whole lot of me standing at the front of the class and lecturing at you for an hour and a half, but it'll be more focused on working with your peers around common shared problems and exploring the course material as a cohort. The focus of the course will be on education. Since this major serves future teachers, we're going to explore how different disciplines across the social sciences, humanities, and arts explore education. How do they research education-related topics? What can they teach us about education and how we go about it? So just to give you one quick sample class module, we're going to think like a historian in this class. So we're going to look at past debates around technology and education. So what happened when calculators were first introduced to classrooms? How did people respond? What kinds of fears did it stoke? What can that tell us about current fears with things, technologies like generative AI, and the introduction of tools like ChatGPT into the classroom? And so we're going to look at primary sources from different time periods where folks are kind of thinking about educational technology and its impacts and see what lessons we can draw from that in our current moment. So that's just one example. I went backwards again. I'm so sorry. I need to stop touching my mouse. And we'll also have advising touch points and academic planning integrated directly into the course. So this is something that Elizabeth and I are working on together, so that you get advising support. And as part of the course, you're developing your academic plan and how you're going to navigate the degree requirements as part of the curriculum. So we're really integrating things, and this will be a hub for you your first year, for both exploring education and for accessing different kinds of resources to help you with your academic planning. I'm going to hand it over to Elizabeth now, who can talk to you a little bit about advising.
Sure, thank you. As Catherine mentioned, we'll probably be working in advising and some degree planning into the liberal studies course. So that'll likely be me coming in or providing things, whatever that looks like exactly. But that will also be helpful as a way in that first semester, hopefully, to kind of get that started and understand where you want to go from there to make sure that you get done in the time frame that you want to get done in. But that's essentially what we do as advisors as well. So all our advisors in our office are able to assist you in case your specific transfer advisor is not available, but likely I will probably be your touch point as liberal studies, whether liberal studies major or liberal studies transfer. That'll probably be your easiest point of contact, but all of our advisors are here to help plan, with help with registration, help with running into issues with registration, pointing you towards resources on campus. So we're all available for that, in addition to whoever may be like your specifically assigned advisor, but we're all there for that. And then I'll kind of be that touch point for you, and also help connect you with Melissa for things like CalTeach and working in that direction. And so I'm sure there'll kind of be a mix of people that you can touch base with. But in terms of academic advising, as transfer students, in your very first semester, you attend what's called a transfer transition meeting. It's generally a group advising meeting. So there's kind of ways to ask questions to other transfer students as well as the transfer advisor. And it's a way to plan the next semester, check your audit, make sure that all of your courses have come in correctly. So it's kind of a good starting point. And our transfer advisor does a really good job at making sure that you have connections with other students. You're able to connect and get an appointment specifically. And then we'll also be in touch, I'm sure, in terms of like planning specifically for the liberal studies and kind of what your goals are with that. So we have one mandatory kind of meeting. And so that will help kind of get everything going. It does take a little bit for things to get processed sometimes on your record correctly, or go through some petition processes for courses that came in and maybe aren't articulated, but we work through that with you pretty much individually, and make sure that everything is set by the time you're registering for the next semester. So we'll be your touch point for that. We have a lot of resources on our website. You can find my information even now as you're planning to come, as well as Linda Saford, our transfer advisor. And then we can just help you get situated on either questions before you arrive, questions once you're here, and all of those kinds of things. So we're there for that. Email appointments, walk-in times. We have both virtual and in person. So hopefully we are available to you and can get your questions answered. So we're there. Just come ask whatever you need, and we can point you to somewhere else if that's the place to go. If we're not the right place for it, we can always help you find the right person to connect with, so you're not having to navigate that in a sea of a million websites.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And we'll take a moment to pause just for questions. I saw a hand went up, and I think MJ is helping.
Hi, yeah. My name is Medina. So my son has admitted to the major of civil engineering. So, but now he's thinking about change his major to computer science. So I know that this major is high impacted. So is it possible to make these changes right now? And if so, how he can do that?
I think that would be a question for you, MJ.
Yeah, so I will go ahead and take this question. When it comes to switching your major, I highly recommend this is going to be something that the student would have to, or the applicant would have to do with their advisor individually. So I recommend, since this is under the School of Engineering, reaching out to the School of Engineering department and sending them an email, letting them know, and seeing if this is possible with them.
Oh, so which email?
Give us 1 second and then I'll have one of our student ambassadors go ahead and send you that email.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, it looks like we have another question. One of the questions is, will we still have core classes, math and English, as well as the classes you have mentioned?
Yeah, so that would likely be part of our GE requirements, and Elizabeth may be able to speak more to this, but
Yeah, I can speak a little bit to it. So there are core like GE classes essentially, right? So you have GE requirements. If you're coming in as a transfer student, you likely have your IGETC, likely. If not, you may have a few GE areas that you may need to complete. But you typically you're going to have most of those GE courses done. The only thing that will be left is some upper division GE courses, but those may be potentially covered with some of the major courses that you take. In fact, at least one of them will be with the liberal studies like 191. And so it'll just be mapping that out together with whether it's natural science education courses, the major courses could potentially share with that and give you some more flexibility for others. But you'll have GE requirements, but it's if you're coming in as a transfer student, it's likely you have a lot of those covered. If you're coming in as a first year student, then yes, you're going to have those GE requirements to fulfill. Some of those may work in your major as well. So there's ways to share in different areas.
so the Liberal Studies 1 course covers GE areas in diversity and identity and also in ethics. And there's some other domains where you can take other courses that satisfy those. Um, there's first year writing courses that you'll take as a first year student as part of GE. And those are really important. Those composition courses are really important for subject matter competency for future teachers too. There's other GE requirements in like life sciences and quantitative reasoning. Excuse me. MJ, I'm not sure if someone can share in the chat the link to the GE page that shows the different GE requirements for that core. And then there's lots of ways of satisfying those different requirements. And so you'll work with your advisor, like Elizabeth was mentioning, to sort of map out courses that make the most sense for you and with your goals to meet those GE requirements. And through that GE website, you can see some of the different courses that satisfy different areas, and that'll give you a good sense. But yeah, the liberal studies, excuse me, the liberal studies 1 course satisfies some areas. Yeah, and then the upper division capstone satisfies it's called a culminating experience GE requirement. And there's other upper division GE areas. So yeah, if we can share that link with folks, it'll help them get a sense of the scope of curriculum that they'll take outside of the major. Yeah. And we can help you strategize within GE what classes make the most sense if you're a future teacher. So for example, there's math classes that are designed for majors in the social sciences, humanities, and arts, but teach like fundamental math concepts for non-math majors that would be appropriate for somebody who's in this major and looking to become a teacher and satisfies the quantitative reasoning requirement. So yeah, you can explore that and then work with your advisor. Yeah. Other questions?
We do have another question. I went ahead and posted in the chat the general education requirements that we have at UC Merced. So the next question is, if the liberal studies major is not quite like a liberal arts school or degree, does it have the flexibility of a liberal arts degree where you get to customize to some extent your degree path?
Yes, that is a highlight of the major here. So it's a highly flexible degree. So I'm not sure who's asking this question and if your plans are to be a future teacher, but part of the flexibility of the degree is making sure that you have a broad foundation, right? Because if you're teaching elementary students, you're going to have knowledge across subject areas to be able to do that well. If you're the kind of student who just has broad and wide-ranging interests, it's a good degree to be able to customize something for yourself. So I was talking to a student the other day about having an interest in sustainability, but not being a science person, right? There are lots of ways of exploring sustainability. Like it is a social problem as well. And there are, humanities and arts disciplines that explore how art can affect social change, for example, and drive climate justice. So there's lots of ways of mapping out a curriculum like that within the degree. If you're the kind of student that has really wide-ranging interests and diverse interests like that, to bring them together in really meaningful and purposeful ways. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. If not, please follow up in the chat or in the Q&A. Yeah, but it is highly customizable. Excuse me. That said, that can be a challenge, right, for some students. Because when you have the scope of curriculum available to you, like you need support in making those kinds of choices and navigating the degree. And so that's why we have this kind of advising team in place for you to work together and work with you to make sure that you're able to sort of map your way through as you customize it. Yeah. Other questions, MJ? Since I can't see the Q&A
We
box.
currently have, we don't have any more questions.
Okay.
In case anyone wants to continue asking questions, feel free to do so towards the end. We will also be opening it up again for questions. So feel free to use the Q&A function, and we will be answering some questions once we wrap up the presentation.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll move forward a little bit. So we're going to shift into the second part of the webinar now, which is sort of maximizing your first year here, whether you're a first year student or a transfer student. And so we wanted to highlight that. So one way to do that is to explore undergraduate research experiences. So a hallmark of a UC education is engaging in faculty-led research. And that is something that our campus is really exceptional at. We actually lead the UC system for undergraduate research experiences. And part of that is because, like I mentioned before, like we're still a relatively small campus with a low student to faculty ratio. So your faculty will know your name, they will engage you around research opportunities and make sure that they're accessible to you. Excuse me. So liberal studies majors and future teachers will have really unique opportunities to participate in educational research that connects to the needs of Central Valley schools. So research that deepens your academic learning, that prepares you to be thoughtful and informed professionals and directly benefits local schools and communities. So I just wanted to highlight a few before I hand it off to Melissa, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about CalTeach, which is our kind of campus hub for future teachers, and some of the opportunities that are available through CalTeach. So just to highlight a few, before I do that, we have a number of child and family development labs on campus. The Center for Early Cognition and Language is one of them. And undergraduate research assistants in those labs gain hands-on research experience, kind of collecting and preparing data for experiments focused on how children learn and grow. So this is a really great experience for future teachers to develop their knowledge about how learning happens and the behavioral and social and emotional development of their students. Excuse me. So if you're interested in this kind of experience, you can enroll in a course with a faculty member who runs a lab that you're interested in and go to their office hours and ask about opportunities. And that's how a lot of students get involved. We also have an early childhood education center on campus. And there are undergraduate teacher aides at the ECEC who gain hands-on experience with teaching the youngest children during a really rapid and critical developmental period, so infancy through preschool. And so this is really ideal experience for future teachers who are interested in PK3 pathways and will be a practicum opportunity in the next couple of years because we're introducing a child development minor, which is really exciting. And so there's a course you can take as part of that that will give you hands-on experience there. And so you can reach out to the director there, Danielle, and ask if you can take a tour and learn more about student opportunities. She's always bringing students into the center. We have a students assessing teaching and learning program here. And this is a nationally recognized program in our Center for Engaged Teaching and Learning, where student researchers are trained to gather, analyze, report data related to classroom instruction. So they go to classes, they observe classes and document how instructors are using their time, how engaged students are, what types of learning activities students are involved in. Are they doing active learning or are they passively receiving information? So they do this kind of assessment, and it's really a unique opportunity for future teachers to learn research methods for assessing and improving teaching. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go on their website and there's testimonials from students and a form to reach out if you're interested. We also have a university writing center where undergrads provide one-to-one support for UC Merced students in all majors who are looking to develop their understanding of the writing process and improve their writing. So this is a great opportunity for future teachers to learn effective writing pedagogy, like approaches to feedback, for example, that serve writers of all ages. And you can just pop into the writing center and check out the space and talk to the students working there about their experiences and how they got involved. So there's lots of opportunities and points of entry for getting invested in undergraduate research. I'll leave the CalTeach Learning Lab because you're going to learn a lot more about that in a moment. But that's kind of like the shining star of research opportunities on campus for our future teachers. So we'll save the best for last. But I'm going to hand it off to Melissa, who's going to talk to you about like the added value of a minor and the connection of our education minor to the CalTeach program and the Learning Lab. So I'll hand it off to Melissa.
Thank you, Catherine. All right. So my role is within CalTeach. So I'm the Student Services Advisor. And CalTeach is a separate program from Liberal Studies. And we are on campus to support students who are interested in becoming teachers, especially math and science teachers. But our goal is a lot more broad than that as well. And so we help students explore opportunities in careers in education through a number of different pathways. And one of those pathways is our minor. And so we do have the Natural Sciences Education minor. There are actually two minors in the catalog. There is the Natural Sciences Education, and then there is also one with a teaching credential. And so that additional minor is going to be focused on students who are interested in a single subject math or science credentials. So within the Liberal Studies program, typically those students would qualify more for the Natural Sciences Education minor without the credential. So my microphone is not. My headphones are like telling me my battery's low. I'm going to switch really quick.
Okay. All right. So I knew that was going to happen as soon as I started. All right. And you'll see here that some of the classes that are a part of our NSED minor are also in that liberal studies major. Right. So the policies around sharing classes between your major and minor are ever changing. So that is something that as you start building your graduation plan, you would talk with your advisors about. And I can help navigate that as well as Elizabeth. And so, like, ultimately, how many units can you share between a major and a minor, right? So that is, right now, it's 12 upper division units. And then whether or not the lower division units can be shared is still fluid. So, like I said, that's just something that you'll work through with your advisor. Our curriculum does include 2 lower division fieldwork classes. So you would do your elementary school, and then you would also have a secondary school. So this could be in a middle or high school setting for that second semester. And then we also have an upper division fieldwork class that you would do that you can choose where you want to be. So you would choose if you want to be back in the elementary school or back in the middle or high school. Or if you only did high school before, you could do middle school this time, right? So all of our opportunities with fieldwork are really to get you to explore the career of teaching. I talked to someone at the career center or the career fair today, and she said her daughter got into teaching, and then as soon as she got into her career and got her credentials, she said, "Oh, actually, I don't want to be a teacher. This isn't what I expected it to be." Right. Our fieldwork and our opportunities that are embedded into both the liberal studies major and the natural sciences education minor give students the opportunity to have that professional real life experience before they get out there and have invested all this time and money into getting a teaching credential. Right. So we have our lower division fieldwork classes do 30 hours per semester. Our upper division does 20. And then we also have additional units. And with our 100 and 120 classes in the upper division classes, those will actually transfer into one of our partner credential programs. So as long as you get a B- or better, which is why you always want to do really well on your coursework, they can actually count towards 2 classes in the multi-subject credential at either UC Merced Teacher Preparation Program or Fresno Pacific University's Teacher Preparation Program. So that is really helpful for students who are looking to get that credential. Like Catherine said, it does like 3 things for you, right? It meets multiple requirements for you. And then some of our coursework does also count for GE requirements as well. And within the broader CalTeach program, we, like I said, our goal is to help support students who are interested in becoming teachers, but also students who are just interested in getting some experience working with kids, working within the field of education. And we do that through a few different avenues. So financially, we help support our minor students. So if you are in the minor, you qualify for some additional financial support. And we have a mini Andow CalTeach scholarship for current students and for alumni. So current students in the minor can apply for this. You can apply every semester, or every year, but you'd only be awarded it once. It is $1,000 scholarship. And for alumni who are in their first year of teaching after getting their teaching credential, they can also apply and get $1,000 towards their classroom supplies, which is a huge help in helping set up their classrooms. We can help students figure out how to pay for a credential and navigating financial aid. We work closely with TPP, the Teacher Preparation Program, on helping students figure that out. And we even did a whole workshop in conjunction with them on how to pay for your teaching credential. We will reimburse test fee. So the first time that you take each CSET test that you might need to take for your credential application, we will help reimburse that. And then we have paid internships. So regardless of whether or not you're in the minor, and no matter what major you are able to apply for our paid internships. And then academic, we have courses that are taught by faculty from the education field. Some have taught for a long time. Some of them are currently still in the school district as well, working as like education specialists. And then we have my advising that's specialized for CalTeach students. So if you're not sure about the minor, you have questions, I am happy to talk with you about that. I'm happy to meet with you. All of the information on our walk-ins and our scheduling appointments is on our CalTeach website. And then along that vein too, like we can also help even if you're just preparing for like going into a credential program and navigating some of those additional pieces, we can help with that as well. Professionally, we have workshops on career development. Our student assistants put those on throughout the semester. Like I said, we have our paid internships as well as the fieldwork to gain experience and to gain networking, right? You start making connections within the school district. That can go a long way. You are assigned a mentor teacher in your fieldwork classes. So even if you are not in the minor, you'll take that fieldwork class and then be assigned a mentor teacher. And then I would be the point of contact for coordinating fieldwork. And it can really help you because a lot of students really want to do the intern track for their credential, but that means that you have to get a job as a teacher before you start your credential program. And so having a network within the local school district can be really helpful. If you have questions on applications, either your credential applications or grad school applications, and then also if you're interested in becoming a substitute teacher while you are in school, we help students apply for that as well. It is a multi-step process, and so we walk students through those many steps. And as soon as a student reaches 90 units, they can actually apply for that opportunity to become a substitute teacher while they're still in school. All right, and some really great opportunities for internships and fellowships as a part of CalTeach. Like I said, you don't have to be in the minor, and you don't have to want to be a teacher either. So on campus, we have our CalTeach Learning Lab. We are the only CalTeach program in the UC system with a learning lab. And students are able to come to campus on field trips twice a week. And they get to experience what it's like in a university lab. And they get to do really fun experiments and activities and projects with STEM topics, so science and math. And those are completely led by undergraduates, but with a lot of support, right? So every field trip is led by co-instructors with a support system of interns as well. So that internship is available for students each semester, so fall and spring. And then our Learning Lab teaching fellowships are actually through College Core. And this is a more significant time commitment. These are going to be typically our instructors developing new Learning Lab activities. And so it is $10,000 per academic year. And I think it's about 450 hours during that time. So it is a lot of exceptional experience. You get a lot of training and support. Our director of K-12 outreach and education, Mariah, is a great mentor for our Learning Lab fellows and interns. But that is an academic year commitment, and that is through College Core. So you apply through them. And then the Bobcat Summer STEM Academy internships, typically we are able to fill those with our Learning Lab interns. So being able to get into the Learning Lab then gives you a pathway into the Bobcat Summer STEM Academy. And then that is also supported with community college interns. So students who are enrolled at Merced College also help support that Summer STEM Academy. And then tutoring in the school sites as well is available. So you can tutor during the school day or after school at the Merced City schools. So during the school day is a really flexible schedule, and it's 40 hours over the course of the semester. So usually about 3 hours a week. And then with the after school program, it's a 4-hour shift from 2 to 6 p.m. And then you select what days you are available. And so we'll partner you up with another instructor who would then be available for the other days. And together you have your own section in the after school program. So you have 20 students that are assigned to you, and they give you the curriculum, they give you a calendar with activities, and support you with all of the things that you need, the resources that you need to do those activities. And like I said, these are going to be available to students within and outside of CalTeach and the liberal studies major, but they're especially valuable for students who are interested in that future education. But we have students from everywhere that want to be doctors and like work with kids, and you have to be an educator. I think one of my favorite quotes that Mariah has said is like, you don't have to be a teacher to be an educator, right? So this gives you good experience learning how to educate others. And we have a video that talks about our learning lab and the experience of students. I don't hear volume. I think you might have to unmute Catherine for it to play.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it was probably me being muted. I was like listening to it, jamming along. Okay, I'll start it again.
When I joined the CalTeach program, I wasn't sure I wanted to be a teacher. I just knew I cared about students and I wanted to make a difference.
I chose CalTeach because it gives me the training and preparation to become a teacher in the future and teaches me behavior management, which is essential. I chose CalTeach because I honestly thought it was a site that I saw I could grow in.
Some of us want to be teachers, some of us want to be doctors, engineers, school counselors, researchers.
But we're all here because we believe one thing: education changes lives, and teaching is everywhere.
In this program, you don't just learn about teaching. You learn how to teach, how to design lessons with purpose, how to explain complex ideas clearly, how to ask questions that make students curious.
Then you practice in real classrooms with real students, not once, multiple times. You teach, you get feedback, you refine, you teach again. That's how confidence is built.
There's a moment when a student understands something because of the way you explain it, and you realize you can do this.
Teaching is a profession, but it's also a skill. And when you know how to teach, you know how to communicate clearly, lead confidently, and make ideas stick. Those skills follow you everywhere.
The impact compounds. One lesson becomes confidence. Confidence becomes possibility, and possibility, well, it becomes the future. Reach to teach. Learn the skills, practice the craft, make the impact.
It's a really great overview. I love that video so much. But we're really
I know, I do too.
lucky. We're really lucky to have Marta, who you probably recognized in the video, here today, who's a current UC Merced student and is going to close up our session here by telling us a little bit about her journey to UC Merced and her experience with CalTeach and being a teaching intern in the Learning Lab. And then we'll answer any final questions. So I'll hand it over to Marta.
Yes, thank you guys. So my name is Marta. I'm in my third year here at UC Merced. I'm actually an economics major, but I am minoring in the natural sciences education. And I would just like to start off by saying, like, what drew me the most to UC Merced was the strong sense of community here. And obviously, like, the immense amount of campus resources, whether you're using the writing center or the STEM tutoring hub, or maybe you're picking up your local groceries at like the Bobcat Pantry, you know. This school really wants you to succeed, and it really feels like you're more than just a statistic. You're more than just a number at this school. Like you're there so that you can make an impact, like after leaving this university. And so when I started my CalTeach journey here, I started with the minor in my second year. I was placed in a fieldwork class in an elementary school. I worked in fifth grade classroom. And till this day, like it's probably one of the most memorable experiences in my college journey. To this day, I have a really great connection with my mentor teacher. And I also love the classes that I've taken under the minor. Like it really puts you into perspective of what it's like behind the scenes of being a teacher. We spend so much of our lives being students that we don't think about like, hey, like what does my teacher do to prepare for these lessons? You know what I mean? How do they even make a lesson? So these classes really break it down for you on how to keep students engaged. What are the right questions to ask students um, to help them figure out um, and unravel concepts themselves compared to just lecturing them, you know? Um, so, taking these courses really established like, wow, this is for me. I want to be in the classroom setting after I leave college. Like, this is what I want to do. And then again, like CalTeach opened so many doors and opportunities for me. I heard about the Learning Lab. I joined that. It's about to be a whole school year that I'm in the lab. And a lot of people may be intimidated that like we teach hands-on STEM-based lessons. So maybe you're a liberal studies major, right? And you are assigned to teach a lesson plan on engineering or chemistry, and you're kind of worried about what that's going to be like. I know what that feels like. As an economics major, I had to teach a lesson on geology and rocks and minerals. And I've used this example a bunch of times, but as an economics major, I don't know much about rocks and minerals. But the team helps you. You go through these lesson plans. Our director for CalTeach outreach, Mariah, she's such a great mentor. You're not just thrown out there, you have someone to help you. So not only was I able to deliver an amazing hands-on lesson about rocks and minerals, I gained so much knowledge from it. Like, and that's something that you'll never be able to find um, uniquely like anywhere else. Um, but yes, this opened doors for me to be able to be part of the upcoming Bobcat Summer Academy that's taking place this summer. Like I will be teaching and instructing students there on more hands-on lessons. And yeah, this really just it changed my life. It established that like I'm meant to work in education. And even if you're unsure of like if this is something you want to do, um, joining the minor or even being part of something like the CalTeach Learning Lab or signing up to be, a tutor for the district, will help you so much with uh, operating skills like public speaking, gaining confidence and learning how to better educate others. But yeah, so that's been my experience. Um, if anyone has questions, feel free to ask. But yeah.
Thank you so much, Marta. Yeah, maybe we can open it up to questions to Marta or any other closing questions that students might have. I really appreciate you being here, Marta, to share
Yeah, of
experience.
course.
I'll turn it to MJ to manage any questions that come in.
Thank you, Catherine. All right, if anyone has any last minute questions, we'll go ahead and take one more question before we wrap up tonight's webinar. Feel free to use the Q&A function if you guys have any questions that you guys want to ask us, or raise your hand.
I did see a question in the Q&A asking about, like, should I declare humanities and arts or social sciences? Because there are two emphasis tracks in the major. And I did want to just quickly say, oh, sorry, I didn't want to start the video again. I did want to quickly say, if you're planning to go into teaching, you should just declare the major without an emphasis track. Because if you have an emphasis, the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing is very specific on what they want your diploma to say in order for your degree to satisfy the CSET. So if you're planning to go into teaching, you want the general degree with no emphasis track so that your degree satisfies the CSET. Otherwise, you'll need to take those exams. If you're asking because you have an interest that leans one way or another, then that's something we can explore. The emphasis tracks are organized around different subject areas. So if you're like, I want an interdisciplinary degree, but I want to have like a core in that degree in sociology, we have a track for that. And that would give you a social science emphasis. So there are lots of ways to organize your degree, but if you're asking because you're a future teacher, you don't want either emphasis track. And I think you said there was another one, MJ, right?
So currently there's no more
Okay.
questions. We will, Catherine, if you want to go ahead and just let them know how they could connect with you in case they have any last minute questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this QR code will take you to a Calendly page where I've opened up a bunch of appointments for the next week because I know that the SIR deadline is coming up for first year students. It's in June for transfer students. So if you're a transfer student here, you have more time, you can just email me directly if you don't want to meet with me in the next week, but you want to meet with me later. But for those of you who are considering enrolling as a first year student this fall and have more questions that you want answered before you make your decision, you can scan that QR code and it'll show you all kinds of times available before May 1st where you can book a session with me and we can just hop on Zoom and answer those questions. You're also always welcome and encouraged to email me at this email address. And I'll be happy to correspond with you too. The link tree here will kind of organize different resources for liberal studies. So it's a one-stop shop for finding all of our different links. And then we'll share, excuse me, sorry. We'll share events and other kind of upcoming, oh my gosh, my office lights just turned off. I'm never on campus this late. They must be on a timer. So you can go on our Instagram and find more information about events and learn about the advisors who have profiles on there. And then we have a LinkedIn too. So those are different ways of finding us. And I'm very happy. I'm sorry, I'm gonna wave to turn my lights back on. They're motion censored. But I'm happy to connect with you anytime. So feel encouraged to reach out.
All right, thank you so much, Catherine.
Thank you. Sorry, I look weird. Oh, they're turning back on.
Thank you, Catherine. And thank you so much to all our panelists who were able to present today and to everyone who was able to join us tonight. We hope everyone enjoyed tonight's webinar. If you guys have any questions, feel free to contact Catherine. We hope to see you all soon on campus to officially begin your journey as a Bobcat. Good night, everyone, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, everyone.